Yo, what is up everyone, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero video with your host Kenkukun. And yeah, let's go ahead and give the early access review out there. Now, some of the things I'm going to talk about that I have a problem with might be addressed with the day one patch. There is a day one patch coming, but as far as the patch notes go at the time of this recording, I could not find them, or they haven't been released publicly. So with that said, just remember that a couple of the technical things that I bring up could already have been addressed with the day one patch, which is cool. Now, I don't think my review or anyone's review is going to sway people from getting the game or not getting the game. I'm pretty sure everyone that was going to get the game is going to get the game, and everyone that wasn't going to get the game was never going to get the game. I don't think I really don't believe there are any people with this game that are just on the fence like, oh, I'll just wait for a review. Nah, there are no fence sitters. You either got it or you didn't get it. So with that said, I figured I would just let people kind of know my thoughts on the game and what they can expect walking into it, right? I'm not trying to rain on your parade. Overall, the game is good. So first, let's talk about let's talk about the game modes first, right? So in the game modes, we have episode battles. Now, episode battles, you go through episodes of characters that you fight with, right? Goku, Piccolo, Gohan, Jiren, Frieza, stuff like that. You're going to go through their story. Now, the story is a little bit more streamlined in 2024. It's not as long. And as I'm going to dive away from the game modes a little bit, what I mean by that is they're not as long. There are 3D cutscenes, but then there are a lot of 2D cutscenes that just kind of get the point across. So you're not sitting there watching like 5-minute Final Fantasy cutscenes of Goku shows up to save Gohan from Nappa. He walks forward. Now I'm mad, right? He raises his power. Rocks, come up. Like, we don't get to see cinematic cutscenes like that, right? Not a lot of them. So you do get some 3D cinematic cutscenes, but not many. So they've kind of went with a different hybrid style of 3D into 2D storytelling. I mean, let's face it, we've seen the story a lot of times, but I'm not gonna lie, I like to watch my story in my Dragon Ball games. So for people that, say, well, we've seen it a million times, yeah, I could go watch the anime, or I can get it out of, the game I played, which, what does this game got going for it? Cinematics and battle. Like, that's it. Not story writing, it's cinematics and battles, right? So that's what I want out of my Sparking Zero. I want combat to be good, right? And I want cinematic cutscenes personally. Now, other game modes you have custom battle. In custom battle, you can play custom-made games that the developer set up, and kind of like Mario Maker, you can set up your own fight, right? And kind of, dictate how the fight's gonna go. And other people can play it. You can upload it and play it. Now, you have to beat it first, so if you make some insanely difficult, tough fight, someone else is going to have to beat that fight first for it to work. So, I think that's really, really cool. The only downside to that I have is the filter system. You can filter, but you can't, like, search or fine-tune anything. The filter system still kind of sucks. Now, I really wish you could just type in custom things, and I know they put it in there so people can't put out, vulgar things or, anything like that, right? It's to protect their audiences, which, you're going to have a lot of kids playing this game, and I get that. But man, I'd rather just pull out a keyboard and type what I want my characters to say, because some of the things they have in there don't make any sense. The writing was really bad for a lot of the custom battles that the developers put in. It felt like horrible English. And it's the story, it's all about the combat. Nah, when you have custom battles where you build the story, if you build the story and you get to choose the dialogue, and the dialogue options are bad at being, they're just bad because they're written poorly, that's a negative, because it ties into the game mode. I guess that's the second bad thing I have about it, right? You go through the rest of the story and it's tailored. You go through the episode battles and it's tailored for that. The captions, right, and the dialogue doesn't seem wrong because it's tailor fit for that. It's the custom battles that it was like they had like a horrible translation team on the job, and it just didn't make sense. Some of the words should have alternatives for it, or should have been more specific. Some of the words shouldn't have been used as like grandpa. They said grandpa for Roshi. It's like, and Roshi's a name that they could have used. It's like, why did we choose this? And then it was like, that's a word I can choose. Like, I could choose to change one word, and it's like, oh, do you want to have it be grandpa, or do you want to have it be villain, evildoer, right? Something like that. And not only do they choose a poor word for it and they call him grandpa, which I can see it, but they also have like the writing that you can't change. Some of it's just poorly worded. Anyway, it's still a fun concept. I forgot all about that. So that's I guess that's another small negative. Then you have the World Tournament. Now the World Tournament consists of different World Tournament modes, or you can set up your own custom Cell games, Yamcha games, Classic World Tournament, and maybe even the Tournament of Power. So you have that in the game mode as well. Then you have ranked online, ranked online, team ranked, solo ranked, and then you have training, right? So those are all the game modes you have. And now let's talk about the combat. The combat overall feels good, but some things feel like they're missing. Some mechanics are not working properly. The first mechanic I'm going to come to, since I just talked about the World Tournament recently, was the Tournament of Power. You can turn off flight, so characters cannot fly. In this specific stage, sometimes if you jump in the air and you do a move and it misses, you're kind of stuck in the air and you have to manually like ascend or descend, because you'll slowly float to the ground. But before you can do anything else, sometimes you have to make your character go fly up or down, or technically jump up or down, dash up or down, whatever you want to call it, right? Before you can regain control of your character. That's like something that's just kind of like lacking, and I really wish that right there would get fixed. So hopefully that's something they can, improve on in the future, because I don't want to be stuck in the sky for any reason. Now, there's actually a mechanic where you can get stuck permanently and you can't take damage and you can't move, and there's no way to there's nothing you can do to fix it. And that is, it happens when you transform or going to Sparking mode. I've had it happen on numerous characters in different battles, different stages. It's not like I got stuck on something, I got stuck with a very specific character that's buggy. No, it could happen to anyone, and you'll just get frozen in your spot. And you have one of two options. You either restart it, or if there's a time limit, you let the time limit run out, right? Either way, you're losing. So it's really bad. It's a really bad mechanic, and it's a very technical mechanic to the game. Now, the other technical mechanic that's been persisting throughout the Tenkaichi series and the Raging Blast series is moves that do not connect. Some moves will not connect to this day, and it's what is like the Wolf Fang Fist, right? You activate the move, you fly at your opponent. If you connect with your opponent and they're not blocking, the move connects and it goes into a cutscene, a cinematic cutscene of Yamcha doing the Wolf Fang Fist, right? And it works. Now, there are times where those moves and moves like that do not connect, even if you stun the character. So you stun, you have stunned the character, right? So they can't move, or you've knocked them back, so they're flying away. Now, I guess I gotta explain when you knock them back, right? If if you see on the game, if you see the gameplay footage, you'll see sometimes where I get knocked back and I recovered, or sometimes I knock the Great Ape back and he doesn't recover, right? So when you knock someone back, they can recover after they've flown a certain distance. You can recover. They can recover if they hit an obstacle or an object, right? So if they hit a wall or some debris, building, rock, anything like that, they can recover quickly if they were ready for it. And then if they have certain resources, I don't know what the resource is called, but you see the little meter where it says 3 and 1 under the characters on the screen, whatever that meter's called, right? The special move meter, I don't know. I didn't pay attention in the tutorial. You can do a quick recovery and like dash back at your enemy, right? And just fly at them and attack them. So if they don't have the resources to do that, they haven't flown far enough, or they haven't hit an obstacle, they're just kind of like free falling for a moment, right? You launch your move and you track to them. It's not like a straight line. You will track to them and that move will still miss. And the enemy didn't recover. They didn't dodge. They did nothing special. They're just free falling, and you miss. It's been 19 years since Tenkaichi 1 launched, right? 2005 is when Tenkaichi 1 came out. It's been 19 years. And those moves are still missing. There's 182 characters. Let's say 30 of those characters have moves that miss, and 10 of them are some of your favorite characters. And now, you don't want to play with them because that move misses. It's kind of, what does the game got going for it? Combat, character roster. And when you have combat mechanics that, and it's not all the time you're getting frozen. It's, I would say it's a relatively rare occurrence, but it can happen when you're sparking or transforming. A lot of characters transform in the game. Everybody sparks in the game. Everybody. So it could happen to any singular character, right? So when you have the combat that has some technical issues with it, and then you have the roster, which they're touting as the biggest roster in a Dragon Ball game ever, and, some of the characters feel unplayable because their moves won't connect because it kind of like drags away from the overall experience, and that's my issue. That's my issue with that. Other than that, I have nothing really to complain about the combat. I guess giant fights are, those are my technical issues. Let's go to my personal issues, alright? Giant fights are bland, right? You're fighting giant characters, and for the most part, you're just finding a way to spam your Kamehameha, your special beam cannon, you're spamming your sparking mode and getting on them and hitting them. During sparking mode, if you punch enemies, they stagger quicker and easier. Giant enemies are no exception, although it'll take maybe the first 3 hits to connect before you start stumbling them, but they will stumble. Rest assured, you see Vegeta, he can't really do anything, he's kind of stun locked, right? That happens. But if I have to spam my sparking mode just to do something for the Great Ape fights, it's just bland, and it's been like that since Tenkaichi 1 now. I don't know that a sparking mode was in Tenkaichi 1, but I'll tell you what was in Tenkaichi 1. Special beam cannon spam, Kamehameha spam. That didn't change, alright? And that's not a very fun way to do, giant bosses in video games anywhere. The bigger the boss, the harder it is to make it fun. That's any game, everywhere. And then the power fantasy. For me, the power fantasy is kind of missing, right? And what do I mean by that? The Spirit Bomb is small. Like the Super Spirit Bomb is small. The size of explosions are small. There's nothing else for me to say, right? When I do Final Explosion with Vegeta, you best believe that move should take up the screen, right? Absolutely, it should take up the whole screen. That's what I want from my Dragon Ball games. I want power fantasy. I want balance, but I want power fantasy. I'm sure there are ways that you could have the Final Explosion take up the majority of the screen, right? Or the majority of the arena, and still balance it in a way where, characters have a chance to get out of it or to dodge it, right? And you got to remember, the Final Explosion, I haven't played Majin Vegeta yet, but I'm pretty sure if you do it, you go down, you lose almost all of your health, right? You're going to have no HP. So you're choosing to, literally sacrifice yourself with that move, and the power fantasy is just not there. The Super Spirit Bomb, I think is balanced, right? It connects, it moves really fast, but I wish it would be bigger. I just want it to look bigger. Even like when it connects, I would love for it to just expand and be more cinematic right there. And that's just kind of my own personal issues. Overall, though, I think the game is good. Again, I don't think, if I didn't say it earlier, I don't think any review is going to sway anyone off the fence. I don't think there's any fence sitters on this game. You either were never going to get the game, or you were always going to get the game. There's no in-between waiting for review people. I really just don't see that. But you're going to get much of what you got from Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3. Raging Blast 1, 2, and 3. You're going to get... I'm behind. He doesn't even know. You're going to get the same stuff there. Or you're going to get the same stuff in Sparking Zero that you got from there, right? A lot of the same, which is cool. I like it. I think a lot of people were just waiting for... We're always waiting for the next Dragon Ball game. And I can't wait for the next Dragon Ball game to come out. With that said, I'm out of here. Again, hopefully the technical issues that I brought up, which are just a couple, they get kind of fixed with the day one patch. Oh, and I would have preferred, if I didn't say it, I would have preferred full-blown cutscenes, cinematic cutscenes. I've tried to record this multiple times, and I've been interrupted multiple times, so with that said, I'm out of here. Hopefully this review helps. Consider subscribing. I would love to see more of you in the future, and stay tuned for more Dragon Ball Sparking videos along with other Dragon Ball games on the channel. Enjoy your night, evening, morning, whatever it may be. Peace out, and I will see you next time.